It's October 1st, and all this month on All That Chaz, we're going to be reading Halloween-themed stories, mostly Disney, starting with today, Aladdin in Who's That Ghost? It was a dark, rainy day in Agrabah. Princess Jasmine stared out a window in the palace sitting room. I'm so bored. I wish we could take a walk outside, she said with a sigh. Aladdin walked over to her. Don't let the bad weather get you down, he said. We can still go for a walk. What about the thunderstorm? Jasmine asked. We can stroll around the palace, Aladdin said as he reached for Jasmine's hand. Nearby, Abu, the monkey, sat up eagerly. He'd been unhappily lounging on a pillow, trying to think of something to do. The genie was also feeling bored. He'd been wandering the halls when he overheard Aladdin and Jasmine's plan. Yeah, I think it's time for a little rainy day fun, he said to himself, and sped off to another room. Aladdin and Jasmine made their way to the hallway. Jasmine jumped as thunder boomed and lightning flashed. Abu hopped up on Aladdin's shoulder. It's just a little storm, Aladdin said calmly. We'll be safe in here. He led them down one hallway and into another. This will take us to the kitchen. When we're done with our walk, we can have a snack. This isn't the way to the kitchen, Jasmine replied. It's a new route I just found, a shortcut. You'll see, said Aladdin. He didn't realize that he'd taken a wrong turn, though. He wasn't headed toward the kitchen at all. As they continued, the air began to feel cold. Then Abu walked right into a cobweb. Ah! He screeched. Are you sure this is the way to the kitchen? Jasmine asked nervously. Aladdin nodded. It's just a little farther, he said. But he didn't remember the shortcut being quite so cold or dark. Then Aladdin saw a door with a blue arrow on it. Aha! He said relieved. That must lead to the kitchen. He opened the door. Suddenly, hundreds of squealing bats flew out and circled over their heads. Jasmine screamed. Abu closed his eyes tightly. Let's get out of here, yelled Aladdin. They ran as fast as they could down a long corridor. At the end, they saw a door. In here, Aladdin shouted. Once they had slammed the door shut, they huddled together, trying to catch their breath. Phew, said Aladdin. Glad that's over. I think this was the door we were supposed to go through in the first place. Aladdin headed farther into the room. Just a few more steps and we'll be in the kitchen, making ice cream sundaes, he said, trying to reassure Jasmine and Abu. But a few more steps led them into one of the darkest, coldest, and spookiest places they had ever been. The dungeon. Aladdin, Jasmine, and Abu looked around anxiously. Then, the sound of laughter surrounded them. Jasmine felt a shiver run down her spine. Even if you scream and shout, I don't think I'll let you out, a voice boomed. Who are you? Aladdin demanded. Show yourself. Here I am, your lovely host. I'm the creepy dungeon ghost, the ghost shouted as he appeared in front of them. Aladdin and Jasmine couldn't believe their eyes. They had heard about ghosts in the dungeon, but they never dreamed they'd meet one. Then, just as quickly as it had appeared, the ghost disappeared. The princess looked around nervously, wondering what would happen next. "Don't worry, Jasmine. I'll get you out of here safely," Aladdin promised. He led her in another direction, searching desperately for a door or a secret exit. The wind howled as Aladdin, Jasmine, and Abu made their way through the dark, twisting halls of the dungeon. Aladdin wondered how they would ever get back upstairs. Then the floor gave way. Suddenly, everyone went flying down a chute. "Ah!" shouted Aladdin, Jasmine, and Abu. They landed on the floor with a thump and looked around. The ghost appeared again. "Nice trip?" it asked with a laugh. Aladdin and Jasmine looked at each other. This ghost didn't seem that scary after all. They decided to try to find out its name. Hey, do we know you?" asked Aladdin. "I'll say," the ghost said, chuckling. Jasmine turned to Aladdin and raised her eyebrows. Aladdin looked closely at the ghost. There was something very familiar about it. "And do you know who I am?" asked Jasmine. "Yeah, you're Princess Jasmine, Al's girl," the ghost answered. "Ah, ha, ha!" shouted Aladdin. "Gotcha!" He smiled at Jasmine. "You're not a ghost, you're the genie," Jasmine said. "Oops, caught me," Genie exclaimed, turning back into himself. "I lose." "That wasn't very funny, Genie," said Aladdin. "Yeah, you really scared us," added Jasmine. Abu chattered angrily. "I'm sorry," said the Genie. "But you did say you were bored. It was just a little rainy day fun." Jasmine and Aladdin couldn't help laughing. "He's right, you know," the princess said. "We were looking for something to do." Aladdin smiled, but noticed Jasmine was shivering. "Hey, Genie, can you get us out of here?" asked Aladdin. "Yes, sir," said the Genie. He turned himself into a giant flashlight so they could see as they made their way through dark hallways, and he led the way to the kitchen. Soon they were happily eating ice cream sundaes. "I guess I did a pretty good job of scaring up some ice cream," said the Genie. Everyone laughed. A boring rainy day with the Genie around? Never.